Welcome to another edition of the Harvard Business Review Must Reads. In today's video, we will be discussing the article Managing Your Boss by John Gabarro and John Kotter. Views normally we talk about how leaders manage their subordinates, but this article is a little different. In this article, the authors talk about how it is important that you spend your time and energy in order to manage your boss. It is a mutually beneficial relationship that is productive and beneficial for both. In this video, I've invited Dr. Athar Mansoor, CEO Tracks. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, as I mentioned in my intro, we normally take a bottom down. We normally take a top down approach, but in this article, the authors or the writers take a bottom up approach and talk about how it is important that you treat your manager boss. Can you shed a little more light on this topic?
Yes. So basically, the authors talk about the importance of managing their boss. It does not mean that you'll be involved in apple polishing or corporate cozying or some manipulation. In fact, as you have pointed out, managing your boss means that you need to develop a stronger relationship and bond with your boss in a professional manner so that you are able to benefit yourselves personally, your boss, and in the larger scheme of things, the organization.
Okay.
So, this is the overall crux of the article. So, the authors very aptly have started the article with with laying an emphasis on the importance of considering boss as a human being.
Okay.
And bosses definitely have their own needs, their own desires, their own personalities. If the subordinates don't understand and comprehend those aspects of bosses' personality and working styles, then there can be really dire consequences for the organization. And in fact, the authors have uh, highlighted an example in the opening, in the first few pages of the article. They start with an example of a very professional person in the manufacturing industry who is named uh, Frank Gibbons.
Okay.
Frank Gibbons was known as a person of high caliber in manufacturing industry, and he rose to the ranks of vice president within his company and within his institution and organization.
Okay.
But he was not a good person as far as or not a good professional in from the perspective of managing his subordinates.
Okay.
So what did the president do? Because he knew that Gibbons was an expert, a professional in his own domain, and at the same time he was not good at managing relationship with the subordinates. So usually he placed those people underneath Gibbons who were good people or team players,
Okay.
so that they could in fact overcome the weaknesses in Gibbons' personality, and then they could eventually help the team under Gibbons move towards achieving the targets and goals and objectives for their wing or their section.
Okay.
But in fact, what the authors tell us through this very unfortunate story, which unfolded over a period of time, was that there was another person who was placed underneath Gibbons at one point in time because company was profitable, Gibbons was doing fine, and as the president's strategy was working out, that he placed those people who were good team players or who had good communication skills or lesser of distance with the other team members or the subordinates, the strategy worked out well. The other person was Philip Bonavere. He was placed underneath Gibbons. And Bonavere was underestimated the importance of managing his relationship with Gibbons.
Okay.
Gibbons was already a bad person or a bad professional, or not a very popular professional in terms of dealing with subordinates. But Bonavere was also a good professional and was a very good person in terms of his relationship with the people lower in hierarchy or peers. But at the same time, he underestimated his relationship with Gibbons.
Okay.
So when he was placed within a very short span of time, the company suffered a loss of $5 million.
Okay.
And it was the loss recorded it took about the period was 7 years. The company had not recorded a loss for
Okay.
7 years before that.
Okay.
So the company had that loss of around $5 million, and Bonnevere was also fired
Okay.
because the misunderstandings which developed between Gibbons and Bonnevere eventually led to the firing of Bonnevere, because they started blaming each other on some issues on which they had communication gaps and misunderstandings. So,
Okay.
because of paucity of time, I'm not going to go into the too much detail of what happened. I would urge viewers to read this article also. But to summarize, Bonnevere was unable to manage his relationship with Gibbons,
Okay.
and he had to suffer. The company had to suffer
Had
also,
suffer.
and he had to personally
Okay.
suffer from that. In fact, the president also realized that it was his mistake, that he should have played that role where people should have also been trained to manage how to move ahead or forward with Gibbons.
Okay, perfect. So taking going forward, generally people perceive if there is a failure between boss and an employee, and they label it as a personality conflict. Do you agree? And also because of in your previous example, it seemed a personality conflict between the two individuals.
Yeah.
Is this true?
In fact, yes, you are right. Personality conflict is sometimes overblown.
Okay.
It is, yes, it's a problem, but it's only a part of the problem.
Okay.
There are other challenges which need to be understood from both the sides, which means the subordinate as well as the
The
boss.
boss.
We need to first understand that, and as the authors have also pointed it out, and I'm going to highlight it, that the boss subordinate relationship is actually a mutual dependence between two fallible human beings.
Okay.
So we need to understand what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses of each of the human beings. It's whether it's the boss or whether it's the subordinate.
Yes.
And we need to understand that managing relationship upwards is something eerie, strange.
Yeah.
And that's why this article has been written and
True.
it has been researched. And that's what you also pointed out, that it's an bottom up approach, not a
Top
top
down.
down approach, which generally works or functions in hierarchical organizations. So we need to understand that this is a relationship mutual dependence between two fallible human beings.
Okay.
And those human beings need to understand the desires, the strengths, the weaknesses, the needs, the wants, the personality types of each other, so that they are able to overcome the challenges which can lead to breakdown
Okay.
of the relationship. So this is in fact the mutual dependence
Okay.
between two, which should be taken care of. Not just personality conflict should be overblown. It's
Okay.
only a part of the problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, let's talk about how effective managers operate and behave, and how do they manage the relationship with their superiors or bosses.
Yes. So the authors and have also highlighted a checklist of managing how to manage their boss. But before that, I'm going to quickly highlight 2 or 3 dimensions.
Okay.
One is understanding of the boss, right? So we need to, when we are working in, maybe we have bosses in our own organizations or institutions where we are working. So, and definitely if we are not at the top of the organization, we are going to be led by someone, as you have pointed out, right? So we need to understand what are the real drivers or motivations of the boss. Is he a good listener? Is he a good reader? Is he extrovert? Is he introvert? Is he intuitive? Is he sensing, judging? There's so many dimensions of a personality, right? How does he want the work to be done, right? So we need to understand the boss, and we need to observe him. We need to get some data through our observation, process that data. We need to talk to the boss and understand how the boss is conceiving and perceiving things, and what are his targets, what are his motivations. How does he is he a perfectionist? Sometimes you encounter perfectionist bosses, and they are going to malign you, and they are going to have come out with the bashing every time you're going to commit an error or something, but and then you have to realize and then respond like that, so that this is important. So management is an art, right?
Correct.
And in management you need to respond flexibly and effectively. This is the number one dimension which I wanted to highlight. The second thing which the authors also talk about is understanding yourself.
Okay.
You see, this is something which we do not pay attention to too much.
True.
Right? We do not understand our personalities well. We do not understand our motivations. We do not discover ourselves. It is very important to discover yourself. What are your motivations? What does encourage you? How do you get going? How do you improve your morale? How do you perform better in an institution, in a team settings? And what are the real things which you need to adopt or adapt to become an effective and efficient worker?
Okay.
This is important. Then the I think important thing is that we need to understand that it's as I've told you, it's a mutually dependent
Yes.
relationship. And as I've told you, sometimes you need to understand the boss is a good listener or a reader. If he's a good listener, he would like to listen to you first and then go back and refer to notes and something to make a decision. If he's a good reader, send him the reading material first so that he could read and then listen to you. Right.
Very
So
well.
this is important. Then we need to understand mutual expectations of each other. By mutual expectations, that you see everyone has his own goals, own objectives, and own milestones to achieve. So if we do not understand each other's expectations carefully, so similarly, the subordinate has to take that initiative of understanding the expectation of the boss. So the expectation of the boss usually comes through communicating, right? So if the boss is not very comfortable communicating orally, try to communicate with him through written channels or maybe other channels, which can help you process the information. Then we need to understand that dependability is an integral part of boss subordinate relationship, and we must take this into consideration that in a boss subordinate relationship, subordinate is more dependent on boss. True. And sometimes it creates frustration in the subordinate. Sometimes it can lead to anger within the subordinate. So the subordinate has to understand that he is dependent on the boss, whereas boss is also dependent, but his dependability on boss is more. Okay. So we need to be cognizant of this when managing the relationship, and we need to be honest in letting the boss know that what are our motivations, how do we behave, you know what is our overall attitude towards the organization. So these are important things which I think the authors have discussed. And again, it's an interesting article from the perspective that for the first time it gives us deep insights through research into a new phenomenon, which is to take care of the boss, in the sense that if you do not manage the relationship, you can end up in a very, very difficult situation. Perfect. And the institution can also suffer.
Perfect. Perfectly summed up. Viewers, just in the conclusion, I would like to add, Sir pointed a very important thing, that it is the relationship between two fallible human beings. Each have their own strengths and weaknesses. The goal is to enhance the relationship between them so that overall the productivity and efficiency of the organization is doubled. So it is very important that both should invest, listen to one another, and come up with strategies that help both to grow. Thank you for listening to this video and subscribe to Tracks.